Hey, welcome back YouTube fans, and this is our review of Eaglemoss's number 29 Star Trek ship, the Jem'Hadar fighter. Now, the Jem'Hadar fighter is really one of the things I found interesting during Deep Space Nine, in that it's basically an attack ship. You don't see a lot of these in Star Trek usually, because you're mainly seeing like big cruisers like the Galaxy class, or even the Cardassian Galor class, or the Vorcha class cruiser of the Klingons. But you do see a lot with the Klingons' birds of prey and such. These things are pretty much analogous to them. They're small attack craft that are designed basically to fight in groups against an enemy force. And they're pretty cool looking. They've got kind of a beetle shell-like motif on them. It's one of the things I've always thought was odd about them. It's a pretty cool model, and if you flip it over, you can even see everything, including the small hatch here on the bottom. That was from the episode where a crashed one was on a planet, meaning that almost the entire ship was buried under the ground, and that only that tiny little compartment was visible. Overall, it's a nice little model, and I like it a lot. I still wish some of these models were more in scale with each other, because this one's pretty big compared to what it actually is in size. But overall, it's a nice one. The one thing that I'm not sure about is some of the information in this book. I look up some Star Trek trivia, and one thing I noticed was, on many occasions in the series, the Dominion has ships that are about as fast as Starfleet's, but in a lot of technical things I've found online, not in this claims their max speed is warp 9.6, is that a lot of the Dominion's ships are really slow compared to the Federation, Klingon, or Romulan ships. Their warp drive technology is apparently far slower than theirs, meaning they have, a max speed of around warp 7 or so, which is something that I would think would be interesting with these guys. If their warp drive technology is not as advanced as the Federation or the other Alpha Quadrant races, but their weapons technology, like the Polaron beams that these things fired out, would cut right through the shields of the Federation and the other powers. Of course, the Federation eventually adapted their shield tech so that the Polaron weapons were only about as effective as everything else, meaning they no longer had the edge that they once had, which is something that I wish they had done more during the Dominion War. And this is a problem I see in a lot of fiction where there's a conflict between two powers. Initially, an enemy who you are not familiar with but is familiar with you will have an advantage simply because they know what you can do, but you have no idea what they can do. You see it in superhero stories and other stories like this, because the good guys, they've been around and are public figures, but the villains usually are secretive and cunning, and usually will develop new weapons or items to defeat the heroes. The Dominion is much the same way when they first appeared in Star Trek. They had weapons that the Federation had never encountered, so their defenses were weak against them and could easily be overwhelmed. However, I feel that through the series, they should have made it so the Jem'Hadar's weapons were far less effective. In fact, you could argue they were. The only reason in the final and 7th season they got the edge again was the Breen joined them, and they had energy-damping weapons they had never seen again, which gave them an edge in battle, which, because they had no previous experience with them, rendered their ships very vulnerable. However, that's something that we should see more with the Dominion as well. They don't know everything the Federation can throw at them. They should be caught off guard as well. But rule of drama, what can you do? Either way, I just feel that they should have made some more out of these during the series. But getting back to the model, it's pretty cool, and I do like the design. But the one thing I've always been iffy about with these ships is this really big open space here. I always thought these should be connected, but there's a big open space, meaning there's a big structural weak spot there. But either way, this one's definitely a must for any fan of DS9. But at any rate, please like, subscribe, and comment below and share this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Ciao!